region, and that's so good. All right, as I said, our message today is on love, and it talks about illuminating our hearts, you know, with that radiation and that vibration. And I sat looking up at our one of Kathleen's wonderful wreaths. I thought, imagine that's your heart, and that's all that light and brilliance shining around it as you hear the message today and we do the meditation. Of course, I want to start out with a little bit of humor. The son said, "Dad, I've heard in some parts of the world a man doesn't know his wife until he marries her." And the father answered and said, "Son, that's true everywhere." What do you think, fellas? Lastly, there was a man who was really lonely, so he posted an ad on a popular website, and the ad simply said, "Wife wanted." And the next morning he was surprised to find he had over 100 replies in his inbox. Unfortunately, they all said the same thing: "You can have mine." Oh, no, it can't be true. All right, to mitigate that, I have a little bit nicer story for you. I was reading some of the old Reader's Digest briefs, and this was one that I thought caught my heart with the idea of love. She says, "Sometimes I think about what I don't have: a house on the ocean, a big career I could use to impress people at my high school reunion. Then I hear his car in the driveway, and I think, we'll grill tonight. Later, we'll watch some reruns of sitcoms from a long time ago that remind me of when we were young. He'll doze off, and it'll be time for the day to end. We'll say goodnight to the cats. We are all still here, a miracle. When I'm very old, I will wish for a day like this." Isn't that love? Isn't that love for your life? The simple things that... I love that line when she said, "Then I hear his car in the driveway." I remember my husband always used to pull into, we had a 4-car garage, and you know how you play the radio really loud when you're driving because of all the noise around you, and then you pull into the garage and it's quiet and the radio is blaring. I've always remembered that. I didn't hear his car in the garage, I heard the radio playing. That was interesting. Well, we're continuing in our series, Power Up, exploring our 12 spiritual powers as accelerated mind abilities. And I love this visual because it just kind of shows the energeticness that we are. And as we live our 12 spiritual faculties of mind, I have a slide for this one, Jacob, we activate. The whole purpose of studying the 12 powers is that we activate those faculties within us. We become consciously aware of the spiritual powers that are expressing as us in consciousness. What's it say here? Living our spiritual faculties activates something above and beyond our human powers. You are consciously aware of them in your conscious mind, but it transcends that, right? Goes to, what is it? You'll be renewed by the renewing of your mind. We're created and continually advance by the renewing of our minds. We literally call forth a force for good beyond anything we have yet experienced. When we're in our class on Wednesdays working through this, the law, the divine faith, divine wisdom, divine understanding, divine love, divine power, divine order, divine release, all of it, as we work with it in our minds, we are literally calling forth a force for good beyond anything that we have yet experienced. And it changes you, not only physically on the external, but on the inside. You're shored up in a strength of spirit that you've never had before, and you live it more fully and more boldly. You claim it more boldly. Charles Fillmore said, "Love in divine mind is the idea of universal unity." And I thought, that's a kind of hard to wrap my thoughts around. It's a power that joins and binds together the universe and everything in it. And in the studies, they always liken love to gravity. It's something that holds you. Without gravity, we'd all fly off the earth, wouldn't we? And so there's this universal energy of love that binds things together. It can construct or create. It unites. It draws. The law of attraction is a big thing about how love operates. It's not so much that it draws things to you as you draw yourself to it. Think of it in reverse. The law of attraction is you're attracting yourself to the things that are important to you. You think you want a new car, and maybe you want a Volkswagen Beetle, and all of a sudden you start seeing them everywhere. You've attracted yourself to the Volkswagen Beetle. You see it everywhere because you consciously have it in your mind. The power of love is centered in the heart. No surprise there. The disciple that represents love is John. Love underdeveloped is a limited ability to feel affection or positive regard. When I think of my mom, I always remember she had positive regard for everyone. You could be, down and out, derelict and bad, and she'd just say, "Oh, honey, God isn't finished with them yet." She just had positive regard for everyone. But this underdeveloped may show up as difficulty in relationships, loneliness, a sense of separation, and physically, because it's located in the heart, it can show up as a heart issue, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and other symptoms. Now, symptoms in your body show when you're in misalignment with somewhere in the faculty of whichever one, love. If there's symptoms in your heart, it may be the faculty of love that needs to be enriched in your consciousness. I don't want to oversimplify that teaching at all. But in Unity, we teach your life is an outpicturing of your consciousness. And whatever you're holding in consciousness is showing up or is going to manifest in your life. So if you're manifesting an illness or a problem somewhere, it's helpful to look at the 12 powers, explore which one might be out of alignment for you so that it can bring you back into healing and wholeness. Now here's a very generalized, very simple example of that. But I was born with a hole in my heart. So how could I, as an infant, be living something wrong, right? I couldn't be living something wrong. In my consciousness, I couldn't be misusing or misappropriating the spiritual faculty of love. But what was happening while I was growing in the womb is that my birth mother was having an affair with her lover, my father. She was cheating on her husband over here, and she decided to leave her husband and marry the lover, only he said he wouldn't marry her, and she was heartbroken. She was heartbroken. And I'm born with a broken heart. Now, it's just not that simple. That's like 15 years of therapy to figure all of that out and tell you that in one sentence. But there was something that was going on in my environment that was causing a misalignment with the idea and the purity of love, right? You can see it. So it doesn't mean a big thing like that. Your high cholesterol could mean that you're choking your veins, you're scrimping something, you're refusing something, you're resisting something. And it's just an invitation to explore around in the 12 powers and all of their points in your body. Our bodies are, the next slide, our bodies are masterfully designed as instruments of divine mind, and they offer us feedback and wisdom and clues for understanding anything that's going on in our life. Your body is an outpicturing of what's happening in your consciousness. I can't emphasize that enough. And so the place to look then to purify your body is to look to purify your consciousness in some way. So underdeveloped, a limited ability for positive regard. The love factor, overdeveloped, is, you can imagine, a person is obsessive with neediness or lust and uses no wisdom in balance with love. They just are over the top with emotions. Sometimes we say a person's so spiritual they're no earthly good. So kind of that would be love that's not functioning properly. Balanced is the ability to seek harmony in all situations and to see beyond the appearance to a sense of oneness. We're one with everyone. We're one with everyone. And the force of love doesn't care whether a person is a friend or an enemy or a loved one or a complete stranger. With every person we encounter, we are either flowing love or we are not. And the thing about taking on, I always have a hard time writing sermons on love because love just is, isn't it? I mean, what do you write about love? You could write books, volumes of stuff. It just is. And every person we encounter, we're either flowing love or we're not. And when we're flowing love, that means from the ethers or the universal consciousness of spirit, there's a infilling of us. We're sustained by that love, and that's how we feel it inside ourselves. And then when we feel it, we radiate it out. So we're kind of streaming, we're channeling the love that God is through us as love out to others. And if there's a block to that or a kink in that garden hose, or something, then it'll show up as a problem in a relationship or something. But you're always flowing love or not. And what you do give out in love then magnetizes you. You become electric to those things that you love. Then you're drawn to them, right? In Proverbs chapter 11, verse 17, well, you define your life by love's constant flow. And it was King Solomon who said, "Your own soul is nourished when you are kind, and it is destroyed when you are cruel." Haven't you had those moments when you said words, and you wish you could call them back, and you felt crushed or, full of regret, and it kind of was destroyed? It feels like you're destroying. Your own soul is nourished when you are kind. It's destroyed when you are cruel. Now, we can't talk about love without talking mostly about relationships. Relationships are our biggest channel for giving love to each other, but they're also our biggest challenge, aren't they? Because they can be our biggest reason to love or not love. Oh, you did that, or oh, you did that. It's either way. Their biggest. We can be the biggest channel for love. It can be a biggest challenge for us. Some people think that relationship is good or bad based on the other person, but there's nothing in the disconnect about them. You can't say to the force of love, "I'll only love you if you love me back," or "I'll only love you if you behave in a certain way." It's not about the other person. It's about you and the circumstances of your life, and about what you are being and what you are receiving and what you are flowing. And so when it's totally omniactive in you, your ability to love. And I'm first one to admit, I don't stay loving every second of every day, right? I can get caught off guard with the best of them. You can bump up against me and I can with the best of them, when I'm having an off moment or off day, off week, off month. It's a process to adopt this faculty of love and to begin to allow it to be, not allow it, but to be conscious of it in us and flowing all the time. The happiness you feel is in direct proportion to the love you are letting flow through you. And I'm reminded of the story of a woman who used love's power to restore her marriage. She'd lost all, it was a long-time marriage. She said she'd lost all the feeling for her husband. She couldn't stand to be around him. He complained every day. He was sick. He was angry, and he verbally abused her and their 4 children. And she was just like over the top with frustration about this. And so she read about, or went to a unity class, I don't remember which, but she read about the power of being love and flowing love and giving love. And she decided to change her own thoughts and to feel happier for herself, just to give herself some relief. And to do that in spite of her problems. And so her mood shifted, which shifted, of course, the atmosphere in her home. And she began to get along better with her children. So she could see there was just some improvement. Then she took out pictures of her husband when they first married, and she looked at him every day. Now, you know that joke about the husband, he says to his wife, "I noticed you put a picture of me in your purse, and you take it with you to work every day." And she says, and he says, "Why do you do that?" She says, "Well, when there's a problem at the office, no matter how impossible it seems, I take out your picture and I look at it." And he says, "Wow, you can see how wonderful and amazing I am for your life." She goes, "Yeah, I see your picture and I say to myself, what other problem could there be greater than this one?" This isn't relationship bashing day, it's just, it's love, isn't it? Love has humor and fun and joy and frustration and all of it. Well, continuing with the woman who took the picture of her husband out when they were first married and began to look at it every day, she began to call to mind, and to feel the love she first felt. She said, I've always loved him. He was the love of my life. When we were in college, I'd hoped that he asked me to marry him. I kind of had to give him an ultimatum so that he would finally propose. And she said that her feelings of love began to increase as she walked back into that mindset. Her feelings increased dramatically, and she reached a point where she felt love for him more than ever before. Those of you who have been in long-term marriages, you know the years come and go. And some years you're paralleling together, and other years one of you goes over here, and then comes back, then another one of you goes over here, then you're going together again. And when you come back and you're going together again, it feels so good. You're so glad you stayed. You know, you're so glad that you're back in sync with each other. I think that's what she was doing when she took the picture out and began to call to mind. She began to generate an energy. And so that it ended up that some of his anger began to leave him, his health got better, and she went from wanting to be as far away from him as possible to wanting to be with him all the time. And they wanted to be together. That was that coming back together and then going forward in your marriage. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's not. You can change any relationship right now by looking for things to love and appreciate. Appreciation, praise. The word praise has the word raise in it. When you deliberately look for things to appreciate and to love and let go of noticing all the negative things, it will appear as though something incredible has happened. And I've done this, I do this in my life practice, but sometimes it takes a little bit of cultivation. You've got to appreciate and praise and shift your own mindset for there to be a leap in the experience of the relationship. But if you stay with it, it will change. It has to change. The spiritual power of love can dissolve all disharmony, can reconcile you, can restore you, can unify you. And here's the interesting thing about love also. It will clarify for you. It will move out of your life anyone who's not supposed to be there, and it will cling to people in your life who are supposed to be there. You can trust that divine love, the infinite intelligence of the mind of Christ that is in love and all of its aspects, knows your life and knows what's right for your highest and best life and knows what maybe should be moved out and changed in your life. So love will clarify, move out what doesn't belong in your life, and draw and bind to you what does belong. It will move every circumstance for you, but here's the thing. You have to be on a feeling frequency of love. You have to be on a feeling frequency of love. Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You have to be in that channel of allowing love to be all around you, receiving love, flowing love, giving love. You have to be on a loving vibration, whatever that is for you. Dance to the music, whatever gets you into that vibration, that energetic of happiness, of joy, of love, of praise, of appreciation, of gratitude, whatever it is, you have to be on that feeling frequency. And when you change the way you feel about a situation, you're on a different feeling frequency. And the situation then has to change because it has to mirror the consciousness that you're expressing, the consciousness that you're holding. I often see couples, I know you've seen this too, you may have experienced it. Couples who split up, and after a time they get back together. Why? Because they're reminiscing about all the love they had. They're thinking about all the love they felt for each other. They're going back to the love that they met. And all of that feeling frequency of love draws them back together. Draws them back together. Now, many people don't know about the creative power of divine love, and so they treat love as a reaction or a response. Things go well, they're happy. They feel happy. Things don't go well, they don't feel happy. But that's not the way love functions. You've put your feelings on autopilot, and instead of deliberately taking dominion of your feelings and using them to create and generate the circumstances of your life, you're living in response to the circumstances of life. You're living in reaction to the circumstances of life. We don't want to do that anymore. The people who live in response and reaction to life don't realize that their feelings are causing what's happening in their life. Your feelings, your thoughts with your feelings create your life. But your thoughts are like the rocket ship, and your feelings are the fuel for the rocket ship. Both have to be together in order to create the circumstances of your life. You can think and affirm and speak and all of that forever, but if you don't have feeling in it, you're not going to create anything. So we have divine mind is first cause. Those feelings are the causative power of your life that draws your life to you. The role of divine love is not reactionary. To change anything, whether it's circumstances of money, circumstances of health, circumstances of relationships, whatever, you have to change the way you feel. And when you're sad and depressed, that takes a lot of energy to get up, doesn't it? It takes a lot of energy. But you have to begin thinking and feeling experiences of love. Even if you're in a difficult relationship and you at this moment can't feel love for the other person like you'd like to, you can begin to feel love and appreciation for everything around you. It's a beautiful day. The air is fresh. I love the sunlight. I love the rain that's replenished the reservoirs. I love this sanctuary. I love all of you. I love the blue in the chairs. I love the flowers. I love the music. And you begin to raise your vibration so that when you want to make a shift to, oh yeah, him, it's easier to find things to love and appreciate, right? You have to change the way you feel. Blame, criticism, finding fault, worry, complaining are all forms of negativity, and all of them bring back nothing but strife. They're repelling energies. They don't create any sense of oneness. Buddha said, and I have this in a quote for you, and it's true, if a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, pain follows him. If a man speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows him, like a shadow that never leaves. Imagine that. You walk in the charmed circle of divine love, and the shadow that you radiate out is the radiance of your being, the radiance of who you are. And we all want it to be loving. We all want it to be loving. When it's not loving, how effective this can be, or how you can see this working, is when you complain to a store clerk. You may find later when you get home that your neighbor is calling, complaining because your dog is barking, because you're releasing a complaining energy. When you meet a friend for lunch and you talk negatively about a mutual friend, you may get back to the office and find there's a major problem with one of your clients, right? Because you're creating. Love is creative. In the same way, when you stop to help someone who's dropped something on the ground and you pick it up, and then you drop into Starbucks to get a coffee and the person in front of you pays it forward and buys your coffee for you, those kinds of things, we think it's coincidental, but it's not. It's what you're radiating and releasing in love. When you drive a friend to a doctor's appointment, the next day you receive a tax refund that's more than you thought it was going to be, or you receive news that your tax refund is going to be more than you thought it would be. When you do a favor for a friend, and in that same week, your boss gives you 2 tickets to a sporting event you've wanted to go to, complimentary tickets. You see, you're setting up this creative energy of love, and you're either doing evil and pain is following, or you're doing good and joy is following. It's a spectacular power and causative, creative ability for our lives. In every circumstance and moment of your life, you are receiving what you have given. Think about that. And if you accidentally give something in your off moments, take it back as quickly as possible. You know, that make amends from all of the 12, what do you call them? The 12 steps. 12 steps, yeah. See, even they have 12, and one of those is make amends. You want to stay in the flow of loving energy. Ogmandino said, extend to each person, no matter how trivial the contact, all the care and kindness, all the understanding and love that you can muster, and do it with no thought of reward, and your life will never be the same. You know, sometimes people come to me and they say, did you see what she did, or did you hear about this? And I can't give power or place to that in my consciousness. I can't allow antagonistic thought to hold space in my consciousness. That's one of the ones I like. One fun way I've found to help add more love to relationships that are difficult for me is I try to see the person as my personal emotional trainer. You know, like when you go to the gym, you get a personal trainer. Well, the force of love has all these ways of dropping people into our lives that can be that can become our personal emotional trainers. They're just disguised as everyday people, right? And they're all training us in a greater ability to choose love. When there's a difficult relationship, you can see that person as your pet, P-E-T, personal emotional trainer, because you are training me in a greater capacity to choose love. Some trainers don't push you very much, and they're kind of easy to love. But some trainers challenge you to your limits, and you want to respond with fear, and frustration, and over the edge kind of thinking, blame. But they're often the ones who are strengthening you to your greatest ability to stand in the truth of love. Because love just is, isn't it? It just is. René Descartes, mathematician, philosopher, way back from the 1600s. I love this one. Whenever anyone has offended me, he says, I try, but I took out the word try. I raise my soul so high that no offense can reach it. Can you do that? Can you keep that one in your mind? Whenever anyone has offended me, I raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach it. Let's put our hands on our hearts right now and think about some little petty thing you've had in your mind. And let's respond with this affirmation together. Whenever anyone has offended me, I raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach it. That, my friends, is divine love. That, my friends, is the action of divine love in your life. So let's take it into a time of prayer and meditation. As we close our time of message, I invite you this week to open to divine love and let it bless you. And keep in mind that whenever anyone has offended me, I raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach it. So take a deep breath in, and we're using the meditation from Cora Fillmore's book, Christ Enthroned in Man. And it's an affirmation, a series of affirmations that we move through our physical body for the awakening, the conscious awareness and awakening, more of a remembering of the truth of who we are in spirit. A friend this week said, it's not about awakening, we're already awake. The Christ of God is awake in me now, not awakening. It's awake in me now. And so let yourself call to mind someone that you love, someone who's easy to love, someone who puts a smile not only on your lips, but in your brain. Your brain is smiling because you think about this person in such loving ways. And see their face in front of you and let it be a totem of love, something you can touch in your mind's eye. And Cora Fillmore always called on the Spirit of Jesus Christ to be lifted up to match the level of consciousness that he achieved. Jesus Christ is now here raising me to his consciousness of divine love. My mind is one with the mind of Christ, and I am established in the spiritual purity of love. And breathe again, just envisioning that face of the person you love, and let them be that touchstone. It's easy to flow those feelings of love when you remember how much you love that person. Whether they're here with us physically or crossed over, their spirit is very much present as love. And let your attention then drop into your heart center, the place just back of the heart, above the stomach. And as you think about your life, you can affirm, I have faith in the supreme power of love. Feel that like an oil, a balm that's, or warm honey that's pouring out all over you. I have faith in the supreme power of love. Let's affirm it. I have faith in the supreme power of love. Now let's say it again and direct it to any circumstance in your life that's challenging right now. Together, I have faith in the supreme power of love. You let love go before you, radiate from you. And in its feeling frequency, in its energetic, there is all power to heal, to dissolve any condition, to heal any illness, to reconcile any misunderstanding, to bring peace and joy right back to you. I have faith in the supreme power of love. And then our love must be balanced with wisdom. And wisdom in our body is located in the pit of the stomach, that place in your gut where you know and you know that you know. And so we let divine love and wisdom are united in me. I will sing of loving kindness and of wisdom. And so see a golden energetic, a golden link connecting your heart center and your abdomen. Jesus called this area in you the sons of thunder because of their power. As you think about your circumstance of your life, divine love and wisdom are united in me. I know what to do, and I am guided unfailingly. And then if there's any animosity, resentment, regret, any misgivings in this circumstance, we want to pour that oil of love into the experience and release it. So let your attention move down into the elimination organs in your body. The lower end of the spinal column. And here you can hold the thought frequency through the forgiving love of the Christ Spirit. I am cleansed, purified, and redeemed. You say to this experience, through the forgiving love of the Christ Spirit, I am cleansed, purified, and redeemed. And then let your attention move back up to your heart. As we said at the beginning of the service, if you visualize the wreath that Kathleen has up on the platform for us with all that silver, shimmering, sparkling light, that is the light that radiates from you. It's like that. It flows into you, all around you, down through you, out from you. The Spirit of God is omnidirectional. But always it's expressing itself in a currency of love. So for just a few moments in the silence, we let that current infill us. Let it infill you. Let it stream in from the top of your head, down your arms to your fingertips, down your body to your toes and out. I have faith in the supreme power of love. Again, I have faith in the supreme power of love. I radiate the supreme power of love. I radiate the supreme power of love. I am the supreme power of love. I am the supreme power of love. And as we radiate that love out to others, let your mind call to memory anyone you especially wish to bless with this idea of the purifying, redeeming, joyful presence of love. See them in all their radiant beauty, their faces smiling, their bodies healthy, their spirit happy. We affirm for others, you have faith in the supreme power of love in your life. Together, you have faith in the supreme power of love in your life. We bless all the names in our prayer box, everyone who has touched this ministry in request for prayer. Bless our chaplains who sit with you in steadfast prayer and see the highest and best love in you. Bless our board and each one of you here in our sanctuary that makes up our ministry. We are love-filled beings radiating out our power to love. And for this privilege, we are grateful. And we give thanks in the name and the nature of the one who said, Father, I thank you that you hear me, and that you hear me always. And together we all say, Amen.
I wanted to preface this with a little story about my daughter Amy. We had the church in Atlanta, Georgia for 5 years. And we were wanting to get back to California where all of our family was. So finally Jay was offered the post in San Diego, which was very exciting for all of us. So we moved to San Diego, and it was a church on a hill in a very busy trafficked area. And it was a wonderful church, and we loved the church. But the girls were getting used to San Diego, and so I took them with me into the service one day, and I gave them each $1 and a little box of crayons and a coloring book. And so the service, Jay gave a beautiful service. Came time for the offering, and in those days they had the large offering plates. Went down from person to person. When it came to Amy, she balked. And I said, Amy, put your $1 in the plate. And she said, why should I? They have much more money than I do. And I said, you put your $1 in and expect a miracle. So she did. And as we were looking out the door, we saw this little puppy in the parking lot. And it was lost and it was very small. darting in amongst all the cars. And so when the service was over, they went right out and confiscated this dear little puppy who became the love of our life for many, many years.
Oh.
Called her Samantha. And one night Amy said, "Mom, that dollar really did the job, didn't it?" So I wanted to call forth the ushers, please. And would you repeat after me? God is my source.
I give and receive in love.
Could we do that one more time just so it sinks in? Because I need it. God is my source.
I give and receive in love.
Thank you.
So blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. So we want to recognize Sally for her first time on the platform, huh? Thank you for sharing your presence and your stories and your love, and your check is still up here. I'll make sure, I don't want a puppy, but I'll make sure we get this to the right place for you. All right, couple of announcements, a lot of joy in our service today. Let me find, we have a lot of exciting things going on. Let's see, if anybody here with us for the very first time as a visitor or a guest, first, second, or third time? We're all family? All right, well, I'm blessing all of you. And don't forget, we meet in Manning Hall to have delicious refreshments by our hospitality team. My Power Up class, which is a study of the 12 Powers book by Cora Fillmore, Christ Enthroned in Man, is continuing on Wednesdays from at 5 o'clock, 5 to about 6:30. Jacob's going to come up in a minute to tell us about his latest Frontiers of Consciousness. Question. Our new bylaws require you to renew your membership annually. So you'll be if you weren't at the annual meeting where you signed in, you'll be receiving a letter in the mail soon that asks you to reconfirm your membership and then mail it back to the church, or you can bring it in and drop it in the offering bag. So if you don't get one, don't worry. We have where you signed in at the meeting. And so that'll be that. Every year you'll have to come to the annual meeting, or there'll be a mail out where you can renew your membership annually now. Resurrection Plus, it's almost Easter's coming upon us, and you're invited on Easter Sunday to wear something from our thrift shop. We're resurrecting, repurposing, recycling, and we're in the resurrection energy of giving new life to all things. And so we thought it'd be fun if everybody wore something that they'd purchased, hopefully in our thrift store, but if not, from some thrift store. A piece of jewelry, an earring, a shirt, a shoe, a dress, something. I donated this dress to the thrift shop, and they put on the mannequin. I liked it so much I took it back home. They made it look good on the mannequin, you know. They put jewelry on, they put a white string of pearls on it. It was so cute. I thought, I'm not sure I still want to give that away. Anyway, So Resurrection, Easter Sunday, be sure to do that. And a reminder that our chaplains are available for prayer over here in our prayer corner at the conclusion of the service if there's some concern or celebration that you'd like to share. Jacob is going to come up and tell us about Frontiers of Consciousness, and then today we have the privilege of installing our new Board of Trustees in a brief celebration of appreciation.
So tomorrow is the fourth Monday of the month. We'll be doing Frontiers of Consciousness in the sanctuary here as well as on Zoom. If you're interested in participating on Zoom, just talk with me after the service. Tomorrow we're going to look at something that I wanted to do for a while, which is we're going to dive into colors. And I may be like, well, what do colors have to do with consciousness? Well, colors are very interesting because we all see them, at least most of us do, but there's a lot of guys who are colorblind. And just as a mention of that, my friend once came over, and he's red colorblind, and he saw my cat. My cat was named Tiger. You probably can guess what color he was. But my friend said, I would say you have a beautiful green cat, but I know cats are not green. And because he's orange. And colors are very interesting because none of us know if we're really seeing the same thing somebody else is seeing. And so we're going to dive into some of the interesting things that science has learned about how we perceive colors, and that there are a few women in this world who might see yellow differently than all of us see yellow. So, and we'll talk about some of the colors that are impossible to make, but we actually still can see them. So yeah, we're going to look at some interesting things. So that's at 5 o'clock tomorrow in the sanctuary here, or if you want to join on Zoom, you can get on my mailing list. Just talk with me in the back. Okay, have a great one.
Thank you. Jacob is our expert in feeling, frequency, vibration, and energy. He's the Charles Fillmore of the 21st century in terms of thinking ahead in consciousness, all of that stuff. I sat in, because I have stuff on Monday night, I can't be there, but I sat in on one of his classes and it's fabulous. So think about attending. Okay, I want to invite our board members to come up, please, because we have an opportunity to bless them in the new year of service. Our annual meeting, they were elected. Come up and stand here in all your beauty so everyone can see you. All your beauty. Yeah, this is the team. This is the team. Michael, you have a tie on. Do you usually wear a tie?
Donald wears a tie.
Oh, Donald set the standard there, buddy. Good thing, good thing. Let me move over to the side. So, Patty Davis is president. Michael Lawson, at our last board meeting last Monday night, the first board meeting of the new year, was elected as vice president. Natalie is the money, finance, high finance, prosperity gal. She's our treasurer. Kathleen is our secretary. And Donald and Sally are supporting positions on the board. Not official titles, but key elements to our...
entertainment.
They're the entertainment, yeah. And a very good entertainment they are.
Yes,
yeah. All right. So acceptance of board service means that our beloved friends here are prepared to serve the ministry with love, wisdom, dedication to the universal Christ consciousness and to our unity principles and to each of you. And the work that they do is amazing. I mean, they have hours and hours of loving service to keep our ministry running in perfection and joy. And so we're here, you and I are here to support them as they very sacredly carry out their duties. So I'm going to ask them to affirm that, and then we'll celebrate them joyously. All right. So I'll ask you a question. It's kind of, you know me, it's a long one. A little bit wordy. Are you prepared to consecrate yourselves to promoting the well-being and growth of our ministry, to carry out the duties and responsibilities of a board member of Unity of Auburn by following the principles set forth by Unity Worldwide Ministries, and to look always to the Christ Spirit within for wisdom, guidance, and inspiration in serving Unity of Auburn? If so, signify by saying, I am.
I am.
That's the Christ Spirit in all of us. I am too. I hereby then install you as board members of Unity of Auburn and bless and appreciate each one of you as you serve our ministry. And I'll give you a blessing, loving God, recognizing that we are here by your divine appointment. We commend ourselves as minister and directors of this spiritual work to your inspiration and guidance. We are open and receptive to the fulfillment of your divine plan in us and through us for unity of Auburn. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
You may welcome your new Board of Trustees. And they'll stay up here with me as we close our service. Let's stand and join in our prayer for protection and our peace song. And thank you, Melissa, for your music today. Together, the light of God surrounds us. Oh, the love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well. Take a hand as sign of community, and let's join in singing our peace song. Thank you for peace on earth, the peace that begins with me. Thank you for peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Thank you for peace on earth. I know it begins with me.
Great stories today.